I don't know about you guys, but autumn is such a crazy time of year, and it's always a time of year where it gets me thinking about the future, about what's happened this year, and it makes me think like I need to get a plan in place for what's coming. The new year is around the corner, and it is so easy at this time of year to completely write off what we've done already and to sort of start afresh when January hits home. And I think it's so easy to have that mindset. I've been guilty of it in the past, where you just think Christmas is here, the parties are going to be flowing, the fun's going to be happening, the chocolate's going to be flowing. I may as well just start again when the new year strikes. But we're not about that mindset here, because we are going to be learning during this episode how to become that it girl in terms of our health and well-being this autumn, winter. We want to put those things in place. We want to put in those practical steps so that we can get to where we want to be, because there is absolutely no point in waiting until January. Like, don't let these things and, you know, like the media dictate your actions, because you are actually 2 to 3 months ahead of the game. If you're watching this video in October, November time, you've got time to implement a good routine before January hits, and that's what we're all about, because we want to see those results. So today I'm going to go through 8 steps that's going to help you become that it girl in terms of health and well-being for the autumn winter. You are going to be leaving this winter thriving, feeling your best. You're going to be leaving with actionable steps from this video that you can put in place. So over the course of the next few months, you're going to be really living your best life, and you're going to be starting the new year in a completely different position to what you imagined you would be starting the new year in. And that's what we're all about. So let's have a look at the 8 steps and see what they actually are. Now, step number 1, we're going to dive straight into this, which is a big one. Step number 1 is all about starting your New Year's resolutions. Now, I know you, and I know you're guilty of it just like I am. Every single year we write down those New Year's resolutions, and it's so easy to not hit them, not meet them. You write them down on the 1st of January. Maybe you're pretty consistent in January, but you forget about them and you don't look at them again until maybe the end of the year, and you think, oh, like I didn't try hard enough with these, or I didn't get to where I wanted to be. I wanted to lose the weight and I didn't manage to. I wanted to get into my fitness, I didn't manage to. I wanted to eat healthier, I didn't manage to. Like, it happens every single year, and it is so normal for these things to happen. However, this year we're going to be taking control of it, because we're not going to be following the trend of doing New Year's resolutions, because we're going to be starting these New Year's resolutions off much earlier. For example, I'm sure lots of you have heard of the 75-day hard. This is where you do, I don't know it exactly because I've never actually done it, but in the new year, you basically do the first 75 days of the new year, doing your, I think it's 2 workouts, reading so many pages of a book and drinking water, where if you did that now and started that today, today's the 15th of October, you would have done the 75 days hard by the end of this year, which just shows you how powerful it is starting something today rather than procrastinating it and putting it off until the end of the year, which is so easy to do. So easy to think, oh, I'm going to start this later, or I'm going to do this later, when actually if you get going with something now, it makes such a huge difference. So yeah, it is 100% worthwhile getting those things in place now. If you imagine like 3 months from January is the end of March, like we're going into the summer. If you do this now and start your 3 months now, and you start getting in place those things that you want to get in place from January, you could be at your dream weight by January when it comes around. You could be at your dream weight by the end of January. You could be at your, you know, you could be in your dream routine by that point. You could have your plan in place by that point. Imagine how proud of yourself you would be if you managed to get to that point before January is around. And then come January, you can set some new goals, some better goals. You can up-level yourself even more from that point. It just shows how much power you have if you actually start something now and you get ahead of the game. You allow yourself to feel that little bit more motivated. I always find I've always been like this. Like, if I have something that I know I'm doing, I feel a little bit ahead with something, it really takes the pressure off me to keep going with it. So if I don't have an explicit deadline, or, you know, I'm not comparing myself so much to other people, like I might be in January because I might be comparing myself to everybody else who is also starting on the 1st of January, it gives me that extra push, because I'm like, oh, like I'm doing my own thing now, I'm ahead of the game, I'm going to keep going because I can, and I'm going to be at a better place now than what I would be in January. And if it just takes the pressure off sometimes, and I really like that about the fact that starting your New Year's resolutions now, it's not about sort of following the trend and having to start them and people asking you again at the end of Feb like how it's gone, because you're sort of doing this ahead, you're ahead of the game. It takes that pressure off, which is really quite nice. So step number 2 obviously links to the one that we just spoke about, which is all about getting a plan in place. There is no point having all these goals if you're not going to have a plan in place to reach them. This is why these goals need to be realistic. It's so important. If you are not training at all this at the minute, you don't work out, maybe you're a busy full-time mom who also works full-time, and your life is just absolutely hectic. You've got to cook for 2 kids when you get home from work. It's going to be really hard for you to go from 0 sessions to 5 sessions a week. Like, we need to be realistic. I'm not saying in time these things things aren't manageable, but at the minute you need to be realistic with where you're at and how you can build in manageable steps to get there. If we're not realistic, you're going to be setting yourself up for failure, and if you set yourself up for failure, you're just going to fall back off the horse and not be able to get back on again. So putting a plan in place that is realistic is super important. So write your goals down. From those goals, you need to pick out which ones you're going to really focus on now. Now, I'd always say do not choose more than 3 goals at once to really focus on. So one might be around your health and fitness, maybe one's a financial goal, maybe one's more of like a lifestyle goal or a mindset goal. Whatever they may be, focus on 3 and only 3 for the time being. It's a really good starting point to go with. Your fitness will have overarching and branches off it anyway if you focus on that one. For example, you'll have your nutrition linked to that, you'll have your fitness plan linked to that. Now, with your fitness goal, you need a goal that you want to achieve. Now, is that goal going to be a numerical goal in terms of, is it going to be a certain amount of weight you want to lose? Or is it going to be more about how you feel or how you look in photos? And that's really important to decide, because from that, you can put a plan in place and work backwards. Once we know where you want to be, we can say, right, we've got this time frame. This is what we need to put in place each week. And this is where your plan's going to come from. So you're going to say, right, I want to get from A to B. I want to lose 5 kg by the end of the year. So I need to build up my workout routine. So I'm training 3 times a week. I'm getting this many steps in a day, I'm drinking this much water, and I'm eating this many calories. You've got to get those things in place. You've got to have a plan, otherwise you're not going to get to where you need to be. And that's what's so important. You cannot just say, I want to get here, sit there, hope and pray every single day that you're going to get there and think that manifesting it is going to allow you to get there. If you're not putting actions in place and you're not acting like the person you want to become, you are not going to become that person. So getting a plan in place is so important. Have a think about what time in your day you're going to do your sessions. When are you going to do your meal prep? When are you going to cook the food that you want to cook? When are you going to spend time with family and loved ones? When are you going to give yourself some downtime? All of these things are important because you need them. You're a human being. You can't go from 0 to 100 miles per hour and expect to keep at that and stay consistent. Especially over the Christmas period, you will be making mistakes. You're not going to be doing this every single day perfectly, because there will be events, there will be outings. You know, you're going to have days where you are going to be taking your foot off the pedal a little bit, and that is absolutely fine. But we need to plan for those things and put those things in place. So number 3 is all about making sure that what you do is exactly what you enjoy. Now, this is super important, because if you don't enjoy something, you are not going to stick to it. I'm going to give you an example with my clients now. In their meal plans, when we work together, I make sure they are full with the food that they love. If they don't enjoy the food on their meal plans, they are going to find it very difficult to stick to it. I've had clients who have come to me in the past and they've worked with people who have given them a boring meal plan that's full of chicken and rice. You know, they're eating like, I don't even know, watermelon or something for breakfast. I don't know what they're eating, but anyway, they're not feeling full, they're not feeling fueled, they're not enjoying the meal plan, they can't enjoy food with their family, they're not enjoying their cultural differences with cuisine, they're not enjoying all of the different lifestyle elements around food, such as going out for dinner with friends and family, because they're so restricted on this meal plan. If you are in that position where you are not enjoying what you're doing, you're not going to stick to it long term. This is why it's so important to have a plan in place that you enjoy. You need to be enjoying your working out that you're doing. I don't care what sort of training you're doing. It could be Pilates, yoga, running, walking, a HIIT workout, strength training, whatever it is, you need to be enjoying it, otherwise you're not going to stick to it. And that's what's really important. This whole thing about building in a healthy person, a healthy version of you, you need to be enjoying the process, otherwise there's no point in getting you to that point. There's no point in doing these things. They need to be full of things that you enjoy. And maybe if you don't enjoy them straight away, it needs to at least be things that you think, okay, in the future, I can see myself enjoying that. Once I get to this point, I can see myself enjoying that. I like the idea of that. Therefore, I can see myself enjoying that. I did not always enjoy exercise. As a child, I used to do loads of exercise. I went to every club under the sun. And I used to enjoy things like that. But when the club stopped, I was like, how the hell do people exercise and do that on their own? I'd never experienced of exercising on my own at all. So when I first started, I initially started with running and I hated it. Oh my goodness, I absolutely hated it. I was out of breath. I felt like I couldn't do it. I felt like I was failing every time I went running. And then you fast forward all this time, and I'm at a point now where I absolutely love running, and even to a point where it's probably I prefer it to my weight training sessions, because I just enjoy it so much. I love the buzz from running, and I don't do that to reach any aesthetic goal running, because I know the strength training is more beneficial for me and my body in terms of my aesthetic goals. But I do it because I just enjoy the feeling from it, and I never thought I'd be in a position where I thought I'd say that, but I guess I always loved the idea of running, and therefore I knew it was something I could build into my routine, and something I could stick to and therefore learn to love. It's a bit like bananas actually. I never used to like bananas, but I learned to love them because I wanted them in my life. Me on to number 4. Whatever you put in place, I can tell you week 3, week 4 turns around and you're going to be wanting to fall off track. You're going to not want to stick to this anymore. That's always where it becomes hard. That's always where it becomes difficult. I have it all the time in terms of talking to the people I work with, the ladies I work with. We all have a wobble around week 3, week 4, week 5, something like that. It is normal. It's because you're getting used to this routine and it becomes a little bit like you're in the jam of it. You can see the progress you're making, but you just want to zoom there and get there quicker. And it's so easy to test yourself and start to let go a little bit. And this is what's so important about this step, is that number 4 is you need to get an accountability buddy. I don't care who that is, whether that's somebody at your gym, whether it's a friend, a family member, your boyfriend. You're going to get an accountability buddy who's going to help you stay on track with those workouts, help you stay on track with whatever goals you had in place, and they're going to check in on you each and every week. That's what's really important. Whether it's somebody you get to take your progress photos for you, or they might come in and look at your weight on the scales with you. I think it's so important having that accountability there, because if you don't have that person there to keep you on track, it's really difficult to stay consistent. This is why getting a personal trainer or a coach is so effective, because you are actually paying someone to help you get there. If you are investing in something, you are more likely to stick to it. But if obviously that is not for you and you can't afford that right now, whatever that might be, then get somebody, whoever it might be, I don't care, a friend, a relative, a boyfriend, whoever that might be, to keep you accountable. It's so important. It's very hard to do on your own. Like, just having that person there to check in with you is so important. Nicely onto number 5, which is investing in yourself. And I'm not just talking about money here. We want to be investing in ourselves in terms of time that we've got, in terms of energy that we've got, and in terms of money as well, because that's also important. So let's do for number 1 first of all, which is all about time. How are you going to invest in yourself in terms of time? What time are you going to put into building a better version of you during every single week? That can go down to how many gym sessions you're going to be doing throughout the week, what time you're going to spend cooking some food, how much time you're going to spend reading a self-help book or journaling, how much time you're going to spend doing something you enjoy or you love for your mental health and your well-being. What time are you going to put into yourself this week? And you need to have that scheduled in every single week. Throughout every single week, I like to look at mine as a bit of a picture. What gym sessions am I going to get in every single week? That's my time. What runs am I going to get in every single week? That's my time. What self-care am I going to do every single week? Again, that's my time. Having a bubble bath on a weekend or in the evening or a Sunday morning and thinking about absolutely nothing else, maybe just reading a book, it's nice. It's good for your well-being. Having that time for you is so important. I know some of us have the luxury of more of this than others, and I know some people are really tight for time. If you work busy, demanding jobs, if you've got children, it can be really hard, but at least giving yourself an hour a week where you're going to do something for you is so important to have that time and to not feel guilty to have that time too. Number 2 is energy. If you invest your energy into other people all the time and have nothing left for you, you are going to be telling yourself that you are not worthwhile. You are not worth it. You are not worth feeling good. You are not worth that fitness routine. You are not worth, feeling the best version of you and losing that weight that you want to lose. You're going to be telling yourself subconsciously you're not worth it because you're not giving yourself that energy. I used to have this all the time as a teacher. My job as a teacher, I was constantly putting all my energy into the kids at school, and that is so normal. I think any teacher out there can completely relate to this, and it was really hard to find a way for me not to do that and for me to take back some of that energy and prioritise myself. Now, at the time when I was doing that job, because it is an intense job, like you are teaching, and I was a primary school teacher as well, so I'm with these same kids, you get very sort of attached to their progress, you want them to do amazing. I was in the SATs year as well, so I wanted them to do amazing in terms of the year 6 SATs. You get so invested in these kids, so it's so easily to do that. But what I found, and the only way that I could give myself that energy for that time for me, was to go and get a morning session in. If I went to the gym after work, my energy was gone by 4 o'clock and I couldn't show up and be the best version of me for that workout. So what I found is I had to just bite the bullet and get up at 5 a.m, go to the gym before I went to work, so that my energy would, yes, start depleting, probably when I was still with the kids, and probably wouldn't be my best teaching version of me at maybe 2:30, nearly 3 o'clock. But I thought, actually, I'm saving some of that energy and I'm giving some of that energy to me, and I've done my best there. I'm showing up for me in the morning, but I'm also giving a lot of my energy still to these other people, but I'm giving an hour of my day to me. And I couldn't do this every day because it's exhausting getting up at 5 a.m, but I used to aim for 2 to 3 times a week, and giving myself that 2 to 3 times a week meant so much for me in terms of how I'd feel about myself, my well-being, how I'd feel about my goals. And I think just giving yourself that energy back is so important. I appreciate getting up before work is not doable for everybody, but you need to have a time in the week where you are going to show up for yourself, whether that's Saturday morning you're going to schedule in for yourself, whether you're going to give yourself a lie-in at the weekend to preserve that energy and give it you back. Whatever you do, you need to be giving your energy levels to you at some point during the week. It's so important. Number 3, invest in yourself financially as well. Whatever way that might look, do not use money as an excuse to not get where you need to be. If you need to get a gym membership, go and get that gym membership. You know, you can get gym memberships for £10-20. Like, you can get gym memberships pretty cheap. Or go and buy yourself some new gym clothes. Like, feel good in the gym clothes that you're buying. Go and get yourself some decent food in the house, and, you know, go to Aldi, one of the discounted supermarkets, and get yourselves fresh fruit and vegetables, good quality proteins. Get them into the house so that you are going to be acting in that way to get you to where you need to be. You know, if you go on a night out with the girls, and I know this for a fact because I've done it many a times, you can easily rack up a bill of £100 to £200 on alcohol. Cut that out once a week, and you are going to be saving yourself so much money. Just have a look at where your finances are going and really think about where you want to invest that money, because if you invest that money into buying yourself a brand new gym set, you spend £100 on a brand new gym set instead of going out on a Friday night, you are going to get so much value from that gym set, because you're going to be wanting to show up to the gym in your new gym set. It's going to keep you motivated, probably for the next month or so, because you feel good going to the gym. You are going to feel motivated because you know that you're doing something for you, and you're being that person in the future that you want to be. That person in the future invests in things like nice gym clothes, they invest in things like healthy food, they invest in things like useful supplements, they invest in things like you know, training, making sure they're getting where they want to be, with professional help as well. Like, having this overarching theme is so important for you and your goals, and really putting that time into you is also so important. Number 6 is all about checking in with yourself. There's no point having these plans in place and these things in place if you're not going to check in with the motions as you go through the process. Checking in with yourself weekly, monthly, however you want to do it is so important. The worst thing you want to do is set a load of goals and then 3 months rolls by and you think, oh, I've not actually hit any of these goals. It's so easy for that to happen. It's so easy. Time goes so quick. We know that time goes so quick. It's so easy for life to take over, and you forget about where you're going to be, to make up excuses and not reach the goals that you want to reach. So really check in with yourself and have a look at where you are along that journey, where you are along that roadmap. And it's okay if you're not exactly where you need to be. I don't care if you've reached half of that goal or a quarter of that goal. What matters is you're making progress and you're stepping steps towards that goal. It's so important. You can tweak the end goal if you need to once you check in with yourself, but checking in with yourself and really keeping yourself accountable in that sense is so important. Write those goals down and reflect on those goals and see where you've got to with them. Number 7 is our second to last goal, which is all about daily habits. Daily habits are so important to help you achieve those long-term results, and you need to decide what's important for you. These are some of my daily habits and some of the daily habits that I promote to the girls inside my program. Things like keeping your water intake nice and high, having a step goal target, make sure that you've got a sleep target or a rough idea of how much sleep you want to get each week. Looking at your workouts, do you want to get some form of movement in every day, or are we spreading those workouts throughout the week? Whatever your daily goals might be, make sure that you've got them in and there's something that you can implement every single day. Do not sit there and think, okay, at the minute I don't really have any daily goals, so I'm going to start by adding in journaling, meditation, visualization, water, hitting my steps, all of these things, and by the end of it you've got 10 daily targets that you want to hit every single day. It's just not feasible. My biggest tip would be to introduce one target each week. Introduce one thing you want to hit each week. So this week I'm going to really go for and hit my water intake goal. Next week I'm going to really go for hitting my water intake goal and my step goal every single day. The week after that I'm going to go for hitting my water intake goal, my step goal every single day, but I'm also going to make sure I get 7 hours of sleep every night. Building those daily habits in a way where they're getting stacked over time, so it's not overwhelming in one go. Trust me when I say this, if you throw them all into practice in one go, it's going to feel overwhelming, you're not going to be able to manage it, and it's not going to be something that you can do sustainably long term. The only way you're going to see results is by putting in progress, putting work in over the long term. If you don't put work in over the long term, quick fixes don't work, you're not going to see those results long term either. I've just been away for 2 weeks. I have not trained once. I have not tracked 1 calorie. I have definitely not eaten enough protein. I probably didn't eat enough fruit actually, because I had a lot of juices out there. And I did get my steps in, to be fair. But however, I've not done these other things. I went back to the gym today and I managed to get a personal best in every single one of my exercises. Why? Because I've been training consistently for 8 years, which means that my body is used to it. 2 weeks doesn't matter. 2 weeks off doesn't matter to my body, because it knows that as soon as I'm back into the routine of things, it knows what to do. It's, you know, that muscle is not going to disappear in that time. This is why it's so important to be be consistent and not fall off track if you have a week off because you've been on holiday. And to not fall off track if you've had a week where it's not been great because work's taken over. It's about showing up for yourself and showing yourself that you are going to keep at this even when life gets hard. And yes, you're not going to be perfect every single week, but you're going to try your damn best to show up over time so that every single year is a great year for you. Every single month is a great month for you, and every single month you're showing up for yourself. That's what's really important. And finally, number 8, which is my last goal, or not last goal, my last thing that's going to help you be that it girl this winter in terms of your health and fitness, is all about documenting your progress. Trust me when I say, if you are not documenting your progress, it is so easy to fall off track. Every single week when my girls do their check-ins, I see things and I notice things with their progress that they do not notice. Whether or not that's putting 2 photos against each other and comparing them, they just wouldn't naturally do that. Whether it's looking at the circumferences that they've lost around their waist, whether it's looking at their weight reducing, whatever that might be, documenting your progress accurately, document progress thoroughly is so important so you can see how well you are doing. I really recommend doing this weekly, checking in on yourself weekly and whatever your goal might be, and making sure that you are hitting that every single week and seeing how far you've come with it. It's so important. Even though that progress might be small over a period of a week, when you look at these things over a long term, you will really see the changes that you've made in your body over that time, or you'll see the changes that you've made in your mindset over that time. You might see the changes you've made in your attitude over the time. Whatever your goal might be, document the progress and make sure that you are recording what results you're getting. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard to continue with it if you're not getting that spike of motivation from it. Now, that is it from me. They are my 8 goals to be the it girl this winter that you want to be, and really kickstart your 2025 being the best version of you, because you are going to hit those goals before January even comes around. So if you enjoyed this video, please let me know by subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. We're going to be having weekly YouTube videos all about your well-being, all about self-development, all about being the best version of you every single week over here. And if you would like to follow my Instagram, where I give fitness tips and tricks every single day, then please go and follow me at Coach Chrissy, and I will catch you all soon.